Hello friends, welcome to Children's Liturgy for the fourth Sunday of Lent. I'm glad that you could join me today. I'm Mrs. Moriarty, and we have two stories today in our readings. So during Lent, sometimes we have a choice about what readings we're going to do. This year I'm going to read from the fourth Sunday of Lent in the A cycle, which is different or could be different than what we're going to hear in church today. But there are two stories that I think that you'll follow along with, and so we have some pictures as we read this. Our first reading is coming from the first book of Samuel. And Samuel is a very holy man who appears in the Old Testament, and let's listen to what he does today. A reading from the first book of Samuel. The Lord said to Samuel, "Take some olive oil with you and go to a man named Jesse who lives in Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be king." When Jesse and his sons got there, Samuel saw Jesse's oldest son, Eliab, and thought, "He must be the one the Lord has chosen." But the Lord told Samuel, "Don't choose him because he is tall and handsome. He isn't the one I have chosen. People judge by what they look like, but I don't. I judge by what is in a person's heart." Jesse sent 7 of his sons to Samuel, but each time Samuel would say, "The Lord has not chosen him." Finally, Samuel asked Jesse, "Do you have any more sons?" Jesse answered, "Yes, my youngest son, David, is out taking care of the sheep." Samuel said, "Send for him. We won't start until he gets here." Jesse sent for David, and he came. He was a healthy, good-looking boy with a sparkle in his eyes. The Lord told Samuel, "This is the one. Pour the olive oil on his head." Samuel poured the oil on David's head while his brothers watched. At that moment, the Lord's Spirit took control of David and stayed with him from then on. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. I hope that this story is familiar to you. And there are many more stories about David, who becomes king of the Israelites. And so if you have a chance, or if you have a children's Bible, you might go read some of the stories that come before. So we know that Samuel is listening to God, and God is saying, "Choose David." But who was the king before David? This is something that you could read in your children's Bible or in the first book of Samuel as a family. And then there are several stories that come after that I know that you're familiar with. And it's always nice for us to read stories in the Bible that help us to see or to understand. Many times, friends, we'll talk about prophets and how prophets are people chosen by God to bring a message to the people. Clearly, Samuel is bringing a message from God to the people. The other thing that you should hear in this story is that Samuel anoints David, or he pours the olive oil over his head. And if you listen to some of the baptisms in church, you will hear when Father Keith anoints priest, prophet, and king. And he takes the holy oil to do that. This is a very special tradition in religion, in our religion. Okay? Great, thanks for joining me with that. So today we're going to do our responsorial psalm. Here I am to worship.
Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful
And now we're going to get ready for our gospel reading, and so we're going to do our gospel acclamation. Glory and praise to our God. Thank you, friends. Okay, here is our gospel reading, so I hope that you are ready with good listening ears. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. May the Lord be in my thoughts, and in my words, and in my heart. One day, as Jesus walked along, he saw a man who had been blind since birth. Jesus spit on the ground. He made some mud and smeared it on the man's eyes. Then he said, "Go and wash off the mud in the Siloam pool." The man went and washed in Siloam, which means one who is sent. When he had washed off the mud, he could see. The man's neighbors and the people who had seen him begging wondered if he really could be the same man. Some of them said he was the same beggar, while others said he only looked like him. But he told them, "I am that man." "Then how can you see?" they asked. He answered, "Someone named Jesus made some mud and smeared it on my eyes. He told me to go and wash it off in the Siloam pool. When I did, I could see." "Where is he now?" they asked. "I don't know," he answered. When Jesus heard what had happened, he went and found the man. Then Jesus asked, "Do you have faith in the Son of Man?" He replied, "Sir, if you will tell me who he is, I will put my faith in him." "You have already seen him," Jesus answered, "and right now he is talking to you." The man said, "Lord, I put my faith in you." Then he worshiped Jesus. This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. So friends, in this story, we hear that there is a man born blind, and Jesus sees this man. And when people at the time of Jesus were born blind, everyone said, that the friends and neighbors said, "Ooh, this is because their parents have sinned." And we know that that's not today, that's not because their parents have sinned. It's just something that happens as they're being formed by God. And so as this man receives his sight from Jesus, the people around him don't really believe that. And the man and some of the other reports, or some of the other Bibles that we would go to, would say that the man went to the synagogue and the Pharisees saw him, and the Pharisees were very angry. They were not happy about what Jesus was doing, and so they questioned the man. "Who did this? How did you regain your sight?" Because this was a miracle. They didn't understand how it could happen, and they were not happy that Jesus was the one who had performed the miracle. And so they asked the man, "Who did this, and what do you say about him?" And he says that Jesus is a prophet. That's what he tells the Pharisees. And they say, "Oh, you are lying. You must go out." And so they throw him back out, and then he encounters Jesus. And I thought, this is very interesting, because what this man experiences with Jesus is the truth, right? Jesus performs a miracle. It's not, it is something that no one else can do. It is, it required Jesus to interact with this man and for this man to believe. And then when he tells his story, some people are very excited to hear it, but many people are not. And yet, this is what happened. How can we relate events, or how can we talk about what is happening when some people will believe and some people won't believe? And yet, this is something that we have been struggling with in our country for the last several months, that some people will believe what is happening and other people say, no, that can't be happening. And so it leads to a lot of unrest and anger, and accusing some people who might be innocent. And so I think it's interesting for us to see that how important the truth is, and how important it is for us to listen for the truth, to be sure of the truth, and to pray about that, and to hear God talking in our lives. So with that, I hope you have a very good week. I hope that you're doing well in your studies, and that you enjoy the sunshine and the warm days as we get closer and closer to spring. And I hope that your families will be able to get vaccinated soon, and that we'll be able to be back in church before too long. So be well and keep praying. Thanks, friends. Bye-bye.